Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of our opening episodes. I'm Andrew from TINYpulse.com, and I'm very excited to be bringing you a new series where we visit with some of the most progressive thought leaders in business today. They are going to teach us about how they manage their most valuable resource, their people, to create some super successful companies. They're going to share with us some of the skills, techniques, and thought processes that you can use to take your leadership to the next level. If you like this video, please let us know in the comments and be sure to visit us on the blog for the full article. Today, I'm here with Randy Stockland, CEO of One Click Ventures, which owns and operates 3 highly successful eyewear brands on the web. Based out of Indianapolis, Randy co-founded One Click Ventures with his wife Angie in 2005, and they've been featured on the Today Show, the Wall Street Journal, and last year won a spot on Inc. magazine's 50 Best Places to Work in America. Randy, what's up? It's awesome to have you here on the show. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks a lot for having me.
Absolutely. So you're known at One Click Ventures for instilling culture in new employees from day one. What's your number one tactic for making sure that new employees really get it?
Yeah, Andrew, I don't know if there's any one tactic. I would say it's a series of things that we do, and it starts with the hiring process. So we work really hard during the hiring process to set appropriate expectations with all of our candidates around our values. We ask very specific and thoughtful questions around our values to make sure there's good value alignment. We talk a lot about our mission. We talk about our different parts of our mission, our team member experience, our customer experience, and we want to make sure we hire folks who are as passionate about giving back to the community as we are. So those are things that we drill into during the hiring process to make sure there's good alignment. And not only that, just to set expectations as to what folks can expect when they join the team as far as our performance standards. We set a really high bar for performance. And we don't want folks to be caught off guard by that when they show up on day one.
Got it. And is that something that you check in with those folks to manage those expectations and make sure there's alignment throughout the onboarding process? What does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So once folks are hired, we have a very scripted first week for them. So we have balloons waiting for them at their desk with a small welcome kit, welcome basket from the team that gets them connected to our brands in some way. We think that's really important. And then from there, it's a very scripted process. Even 6 weeks in, where we have meetings scheduled with each of the department leaders to go over what each of the different departments do at One Click to make sure people understand the business holistically. I personally have a touch point at the end of everyone's first week. Angie and I take everyone out to lunch around the 30 to 45 day mark. And then I have a 90-day touch point with all new folks as well, just to check in and see how their first 90 days at One Click, how that's been for them, any surprises, anything I can help with personally, and to also continue to reinforce our core values and make sure they know that I'm there as a support resource if I can be helpful in any way.
Got it. So if I'm understanding correctly, you're at very specific time frames. You're looking to collect feedback as well, so that you can help instill those values and make sure there's alignment.
Yeah, correct. I mean, that's not a one-way conversation. So it's one other thing I'll add is I have a 90-minute onboarding presentation that I walk everyone through, and that's very conversational. So I certainly have some talking points that I want to hit on during that presentation, but I'm consistently stopping throughout that presentation and asking for questions and making sure that people understand up front that they can interrupt me at any point in time and ask questions and challenge me on things. I think that's a really important part of the onboarding process.
Terrific. And Randy, I wanted to ask, you're known for this notion of protecting culture at all costs. Why use the word protect? Is culture something that you feel is that falls under attack?
Well, if you're not intentional about your culture, I'm a huge proponent that the culture will happen naturally on its own, and oftentimes that can lead to a bad outcome as far as a culture is concerned. So we've tried to be very intentional about the type of culture and the environment that we want to create from day one here. So from that aspect, I think it's very much about protecting the culture. We,
Got
as
it.
founders, Angie and I have tried to establish a foundation, our values, a strong foundation for our culture with our mission and our values. But from there, it's about every single person on our team taking ownership of the culture and protecting it at all costs, as I think I've mentioned a number of times internally and to external folks as well.
Right. So empowering everyone to take responsibility for maintaining and protecting it.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
huge. It's a huge responsibility, and I share that during the hiring process with folks. I share that during the onboarding process with folks. How ownership of our culture is the responsibility of every person on the team. It's not my responsibility. It's not my sole responsibility. It's not Angie's sole responsibility. It's every single person on the team has ownership of our culture.
Terrific. So, Randy, we had a reader question that I thought you might be able to speak to, which is, what's the best way I can hire for culture fit when I just need to fill a specialized role quickly? And it sounds like this person is looking to fill a specialized role where talent might be short or in high demand. How do you make sure that, and there might not be an ideal situation, but how do you manage that in a case where you have to balance speed of hiring and ramping that up quickly with making sure that there is this culture fit and maintaining that?
The biggest mistakes we've made in hiring, and we've certainly made a few over the years, have often been when we've tried to accelerate the timeline for a particular position. So I am very mindful of that today, and I understand that we're a growing company, and that means we have certain demands and things that we have to accomplish with hiring, and totally understand that. But I am more mindful than ever of short-circuiting that process, because oftentimes it can lead to a bad outcome. So I would say be very, if you have established values, make sure that you stick to those values in the hiring process and use those as your primary filtering mechanism. That's worked really well for us. And even in a condensed hiring timeline, if you have very specific questions that are tied to your values, that are tied to your mission, we found you can be successful in a condensed timeline, hiring for more specialized roles, but you cannot get away from value alignment, mission alignment. Those things are too important to sacrifice on. And we always, and I can say always, we always start with attitude over experience and skills. Now, some roles there's no way around it. You need a very specialized skill set. You have to hire for it. You need a certain set of experiences or a certain experience level. Totally understand that. But even in those situations, we still look for people that have an amazing attitude. That's so important.
Got it. So if I'm understanding correctly, really it's that is the filter, the culture fit, and even though you might have that condensed time frame or needs, really by foregoing that, managers are taking a giant risk if they try to short circuit it in any way.
Yeah, we stick to a very regardless of the timeline or the role. We have specific questions that we ask every candidate around our values and mission. And in a condensed timeline, or if we need to move faster for whatever reason, we may involve fewer people in the hiring process, and maybe we'll even eliminate a step, but we make sure that those core questions are always asked. And there's certain things that we just will not remove from the hiring process regardless of the timeline or the role.
Got it. So people should be careful about what they remove from the hiring process, and perhaps even removing some folks from that, the interviews or the review process itself, as long as the culture fit is intact and being examined with great detail. That's a great tip. Terrific. So Randy, you and Angie started the business in your home, right? And we talked to a lot of entrepreneurs who have started in a similar way and are on a similar journey to hopefully become like you. What kinds of resources do you recommend that entrepreneurs seek, or what experiences should they try to add to their learning process?
One of the most valuable things for me personally, and I know everyone's different in this regard, is just getting out into the business community and meeting with people.
Huh.
So those are, I break that into like three different buckets for me personally: mentors, peers, and then I try to give back as much as I can to people that are looking for mentors that, may be at a different stage in their company life cycle than OneClick, but where I feel like I can plug in and help in some capacity. And I find that keeps me really sharp. So we're in a retail, we're running a retail business at OneClick, and most of Indianapolis is running a B2B SaaS company in the technology space. So even though the business models are different, a lot of the same principles apply around scaling and leadership. And so a lot of the same problems are still surfacing in these companies. So there's some really good notes that you can share and things that you can learn. And I've just found that to be so valuable, not only in learning about leadership and growing a company, but also in terms of hiring. The better connected you are, the more access you're going to have to different people. And we've had a ton of success at OneClick hiring through our network.
Got it. We'll have to talk to you again about conferences, since there seems to be a bit of a war going on as to how useful they are, and but that's another episode. Randy, before I let you go, what's the single best thing our viewers can do before they leave the office today to improve company culture?
I don't know. So I don't view culture as I don't believe there's an overnight solution to going from, regardless of the state that their culture is in today, to moving to an exceptional level in terms of culture. But I will say that from my perspective, it's a lot of small things that add up to an amazing culture. It's setting the appropriate foundation and making sure that foundation is strong with your values, your mission, your vision. And then it's hiring the right people that fit those values and are passionate about the mission that you have. And then from there, it's the onboarding. It's making sure that people understand all of those different pieces to the puzzle and how they fit together. They understand the entire business and how it works. And then there's some more tactical things like team member recognition. We have 3 different awards that we hand out on a monthly basis at our all hands meeting. We have a meeting cadence that every single leader across the organization follows in some form, with weekly, bi-weekly one-on-ones. We have a cadence around team huddles. So it's a lot of small things that really add up to this much bigger picture. And I could talk all day about what those small things are, and I could probably spend an hour on each of them. But there is no silver bullet with culture. It really is about building a strong foundation, and then continuing to reinforce those things day after day after day, and being very consistent in terms of how you operate as a team.
Absolutely. I think it was Fernand Point, a great chef, who said perfection is lots of little things done well. So I think with that, we'll call this a video. Thank you so much, Randy, for joining us on the show. For all you leadership warriors out there, be sure to follow Randy on Twitter at Randy Stockland. Check out OneClick Ventures at oneclickventures.com, where you can learn more about one of Inc.'s best places to work in America. If you have any question for me that you want to read, that you want me to read on the show for one of our experts, send me over an email at dearandrew@tinypulse.com. And until next time, and as always, to happier employees.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.